cancelled to the cloud. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Yes, it's me. I'm back, Daddy Dragon, and otherwise known as Graham Moore. Let me tell you something. I'm going to go through a couple of things here. We've got a number of candidates standing in this country for police commissioners. It's a very powerful position. It's not first past the post, and we've got every chance of winning in them positions. And if you want to make a statement for the English, now's the time to do it, right? I'm going to show you and point through some of the things that people need to understand. Now, there is a very important part of this at the end, and I'm going to show it to you briefly now, and then I'm going to switch over, go through a slide. Many people have seen these slides, but I need you to get this video out. I want you to make sure you put this information out there, and especially in Essex and the areas such as Bradford, etc., Greater Manchester, and the other areas that we're standing, Bedfordshire, I think it is, and we need as much help as possible. So here we go. What I'm going to do is share my screen with you, and I'm going to show this to you now. I will share the sound, but I don't need to. So what you're seeing on your screen now, and highlighted on this screen, is a case in Scotland in 1953, right? So just to let you know how important this is, this was a reply I made to the Daily Telegraph in respect to an article by Andrew Roberts, and this was January, I believe, or February 2020. And it's the elites in this country that are causing the problems, right? So let me just turn this off while I do this video. Right, so we've got this situation. There's nothing more powerful than the English Constitution, but only if it is enforced. And by the way, it should be communicated with the subjects, because that's what the last Act of Parliament of the English Parliament stated, and it was the Act of Union with Scotland in 1707. And this is one of the things that I'm bringing up on this video. So there are many constitutional and ancient laws and customs that are forever and unalterable. In fact, there is a case where the judgment states that, and it was 1953, the Scottish High Court, 1953, and there it is, the details highlighted. Now, I just want to say this to you. I'm going to read this bit out, and I'm going to drop back and show you the other element I need you to understand. Now, it says, in this judgment in 1953, further, the treaty and the associated legislation by which the Parliament of Great Britain was brought into being as a successor of the separate parliaments of Scotland and England contains some clauses which expressly reserve to the Parliament of Great Britain powers of subsequent modification, and other clauses which either contain no such power or emphatically exclude subsequent alteration by declarations that the provision shall be fundamental and unalterable in all time coming, or declarations of like effect. I have never been able to understand how it was possible to reconcile the elementary canons of construction, the adoption by the English constitutional theorists of same attitude to these markedly different types of provisions. The Lord Advocate conceded this point by admitting that the Parliament of Great Britain could not repeal or alter such fundamental and essential conditions. He was doubtless influenced in making this concession by the modified views expressed by Dicey in his later work entitled Thoughts on the Scottish Union, from which I take this passage. The statement of 1707, statesman of 1707, though giving full sovereign power to the Parliament of Great Britain, clearly believed in the possibility of creating an absolutely sovereign legislature, which should yet be bound by unalterable laws. And then says, I have not found in the Union legislation any provision that the Parliament of Great Britain should be absolutely sovereign, in the sense that Parliament should be free to alter the treaty at will. And then goes on and it reads certain things. By reading this judgment and Blackstone's commentary of the laws of England, one should now bring in one or two of these constitutional written laws bound by solemn oath and convention. The Bill of Rights of 1688-89 public law clearly states the Bill of Rights 1688 adjudged. The Bill of Rights 1688 for all time to come. The Bill of Rights of 1688 forever 3 times. The Bill of Rights 1688 shall stand and remain and be the law of this realm forever, and by no means least supremacy. The Bill of Rights, and I do declare that no foreign prince, person, prelate, state or pontificate hath or ought to have any jurisdiction, power or superiority, preeminence or authority, ecclesiastical or spiritual within the realm, so help me God. Now, the point of this is this is the law, people, right? Now, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to go back to my original slides. English law versus the British Parliament. 2 mathematical equations showing how the British took your rights, right? Now, this is the British mathematical equation that gives the answer, right? So there it is, and it is a proper mathematical, any mathematicians out there will tell you this is a legitimate mathematical equation, and the answer is 2, right? So there it is. I'm not even going to read it out because it'd do me nothing even trying, right? Tell you one person who would have understood that is Lord Denning, right? Because he was a brilliant mathematician. Then we get to the English common law constitution, mathematical reasoning as a comparator. English law, the same equation you would get to by this: 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? Fairly simple, and that is. So English law is simple. What the English common law constitution gave England and to the United States of America, the British Parliament then took those rights away from England, all contrary to English constitutional common law, right? And the customary laws of this land. So what you're seeing on your screen now is the English flag on the left, and then you're seeing what it was that the English gave to the English. The right of the realm of England and its subjects to defend themselves. And it's been completely removed by the British, and you see the British flag on the right hand side. So who removed it is on the right, who gave it to us is on the left. Right, so we've got the English flag again, the right to a jury, mostly now removed by the British. And again, the right to remain silent. Again, that come from English law, removed by the British. And if you think that hasn't been removed, if you get arrested now, they've actually changed what they actually say to you when they arrest you. They've removed technically your right to remain silent and say that it could be used as an inference against you in a court of law, right? So the next thing is the right of habeas corpus. The English gave us that. It's still law, and it's the British that removed it with the European arrest warrant, right? Just remember these things. The English gave us the right to bring up and protect our children, removed by the British. Remember what's going on in our courts today, the family courts, the Star Chamber, as I call it, where these people have got so much power over you. You've no longer got any parental rights that the English gave you as parents to bring up your children. And then the British removed it, basically by bringing back the Star Chamber. And that's why you've seen recently some very, very, very nasty decisions by these courts, including, by the way, bringing in guardians that have got no knowledge of the family whatsoever, and yet their decision is the one that the British courts, obviously, because it is a state-appointed guardian, the state therefore leans towards what the guardian says. So you've got that, and then you've got the English right to govern ourselves via our counties, our districts, and our parish councils. Almost entirely removed now by the British, because we have a British central system where they've tried to destroy virtually the whole sequence of how and structure of how England was made up, and why it was that England was such a resilient economy. We've also got the English gave us property rights in English law. And it is the British that have removed that right. And if anyone knows anything about property law, you've now got something called the Lease Act. And if you are a freeholder and you lease a property to a tenant, the tenant now has the right to buy that freehold against your wishes, right, as a freeholder. So remember, it was the British that removed that. You've got the English gave us the right to assert English ancient rights and liberties. And that now we're seeing again and again and again has been removed by the British. And one of the ways that they've done that is by enacting a law. And that law is the Constitutional Reform Act of 2005, where they actually removed the law lords and put them into a Supreme Court, which is technically unlawful and unconstitutional. They then, under them same acts, created the Ministry of Justice. And now the judges are appointed by politicians, basically, and not by an attorney general. That has caused a problem because now what you've got, even though they say they won't bring politics into their courts, they're actually appointed by politicians. Of course, they bring politics into their courts. And that's the way they rise up through their legal system, and that is what's destroying the English constitutional common law constitution. So you've got other things in there. The suspended of laws is illegal. You're seeing that going on now with the COVID regulations. Again, the English gave you rights. The British are taking it away. And just to let you know, people, the British are the ones that are using the Bill of Rights when it suits them as the elites, but when you as a subject step up and say, I've got rights under the Bill of Rights, they say it don't exist, as if we're sort of blind, deaf and mute. So remember everything that's coming in there. The English, for example, commissioners for ecological causes and all other commissions and courts of like nature, and one of the things of like nature is Sharia, are illegal and pernicious, removed by the British. The levying of money, income tax, VAT, and is a European tax, is illegal, removed by the British and placed on us, with us not having a say on that. The right to petition a monarch, commitments and prosecutions for such petitioning are illegal. The English gave us the right to protest. The British have removed it. The English gave us the elections of members of parliament ought to be free. Now you've got to pay somewhere in the region £500 just to be a member of parliament, and that's just a stand. The media have got control of that, as well as the larger parties, and that's why you've got absolutely no chance of changing anything. The English, that's all grants and promises and fines and forfeitures of particular persons before conviction are illegal and void. What have you got? Who removed it? The British. You've got now cameras everywhere. You've got people fining you for dropping litter. You've got people doing all these things in the background, including speed cameras and the fixed penalty notices and £10,000 fines. Who removed that protection? The British did, right? This is all our constitutional rights. The English, and what redress for all grievances for amending, strengthening and preserving the laws of Parliament ought to be held frequently. Who has removed that? Well, the answer to that is the British. The English, that no foreign prince, person, prelate, state or pontificate have or ought to have any jurisdiction, power, superiority, preeminence or authority, ecclesiastical or spiritual within this realm, so help me God. Removed by who? The British. And there's a lot of things going on. So I just want everyone to understand that. Parliament has limitations. Our constitution enforces that. The problem we've got, and it is a massive problem we've got, people, is they're training lawyers and barristers and judges and even paralegals, and they train them to say Parliament can do what it likes. That's why often I hear from solicitors and barristers, etc., they come back to me and say, if Parliament was to enact a law tomorrow that all blue-eyed babies with blonde hair should be killed tomorrow, it would be quite lawful, right? That is a repugnant statement, and the reason why it couldn't be enacted is because it is a repugnant law, right? Under English law, You have protections of the Magna Carta of cruel and unusual punishments. And I'm telling you, it is illegal. They cannot do that and should not be able to do that. And it shows their arrogance that they believe that that could be lawful, right? That just shows their arrogance. Now, again, there's plenty more to this particular slide. English common law constitution versus the Roman law system, which is the EU. English common law system allows for either of two things: constitutional monarchy or a constitutional elected president. The important part is the constitution and common law. The only country in the British Isles that can have this system is England, with Wales as a principality and Northern Ireland as a crown dependency, but completely self-governing like the Isle of Man and Guernsey. Right? Now, we can do all this, people. What we don't want is Roman law. Roman law is European law. Roman law is the Scottish legal system. What that means is you can only do it if it's written. That's why you had 40,000 pages or 14,000 pages describing how, I believe it was, a cucumber should look, or a cabbage, or whatever the silliness of it was. The point is, everything has to be described, because to make that cabbage lawful in their legal system, everything has to be written down. If it is not written in law, under the Roman law system, if it is not written in law that it is legal, it is therefore illegal. And that's why they have reams and reams and reams of laws. And judges are not common law judges like ours. They are administrators who tick a box and say, look, there it is, it's lawful. Or they go through the list and see what it is that you've done and say, well, it's not written, so you can't do it, it's unlawful, it's illegal, there you go, bang, all right? There's your prison sentence. The common law is different to that. They frame a law and say, this is what we forbid, or what society decides through customs and common law. And by the way, customs normally spread. So if it was good law, it was a custom, and one village would use it, another village said, you know, that's really good. And then it goes to a town, and the town says, you know, we're going to use that. And then it spreads throughout the nation, and it becomes common law. And then what they did then, they said, well, if that's a common law, we're going to make some small tweaks to it, and we're going to make it a statute so everyone understands exactly what it is in the country. And generally speaking, it was very short. Look at our Bill of Rights, look at many of the laws, look at the law regarding 1384, which was the statute of due process. It's one paragraph, one small paragraph, that's it. Still law in this nation, and it is the process of law, etc. So what you've got to understand, people, is we give the world this system, a fantastic system. It is the Nazis, the communists, and the socialists that don't like this system, because it allows us freedom, maximum freedom, right? That's the difference. And people have got to understand exactly what's going on. So I want you to know exactly what your rights are. Now, again, I'm going to get back, just show you these slides, just to show you how much has been taken away from you by the British. Right now, I keep saying this, the emperor has no clothes, the British are the problem. The emperor has no clothes, the British are the problem, right? And they are the problem throughout the world. And they will not allow the proper history to be taught. They have removed English law and the English constitution from our curriculum against, I may say, the Acts of Union that explicitly states that we must be, our rights must be communicated to us. Our rights are not being communicated to us. They stopped communicating in the early 1970s. They removed it from the legal bar exams. And I'm the one who's saying, listen, what you're doing is wrong. It only takes one person to stand up and say the emperor has no clothes, right? And once we catch on and we get it and people understand it's the British that are the problem. The English are not the bad guys. The English were the ones who stopped slavery. They all talk about Wilberforce, but they never talk about Glenville Sharp, who was a layman just like me, come from Durham. He was a northerner. They don't like talking about him because he had a northern accent, and he was the one that went up against the British in the English high courts, and he freed the slaves. That's what happened. That's why there's a plaque to him in the museum to Africa in London. That's why he is buried with a tomb in London, in Fulham, right? You don't know that. Why don't you know that? You should be taught that, because we should be proud of that as English. I don't tell you that St. Patrick was an English slave, do they? Right, let's get back to business, people. The business is this. On my website, you will see this information spelled out. And now, it's already been stated in law that you cannot do it. You can't do what they've said they want to do. I'm showing you this information. Everything is there. If you want to see the PDF and the information, just go and download it from my site. I'm asking you to get this video out to everywhere. Vote for the English Democrats. Vote for Robin Tilbrook in Essex. Vote for Therese in Yorkshire. Vote for Stephen Morris in Greater Manchester. And I'll go through the list of people. Tomorrow night, I'm going to do it again. I want you to get these videos out. Let's take this country back from the British oppressors, right? We are under a government of occupation. Take back our country, take back our nation, and do it for our future generations, so they never take another child's life. They never take another child from a family. They never take another man into a prison cell and strip him naked and look up his backside for no reason whatsoever. Let's take back our country and start on this election. That's it, people. That is all I've got to say tonight. But I want people to get that message out there. I love my country, and I love my countrymen and women. I don't care what colour you are. I will wrap you in the English flag. Do you understand that? I would love to be the spirit of Glanville Sharp. They have turned the minds of every black and brown person in this country. The British have done that. The same way as they attacked the people in Africa, they attacked the people in China, they attacked the people in Russia. They were the ones, the British, that installed communism in Russia. They installed communism in the European Union. They installed communism in China. It was the British that did that. The Fabian Society, the communists. Wake up, people. Take this country back. That's it. Love you to bits. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. It's the only solution to this, and you need to vote for the English Democrats. When you see the English flag and you see the words "Putting England first," that means you. It doesn't mean anything else other than, I don't care what colour you are. I care that you're English. I don't care if you're male or female. I care that you're English. That's it. Stand up and take your rights back. Amen. See you soon. Be lucky. God bless you. God bless England. And God bless the English Democrats for this election. Thank you very much.